morning, Manitoba. We're halfway through the week. It is Wednesday, September the 10th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, Ainsley McPhail is going to tell us all about World Alzheimer's Month. The Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba, they do a lot of incredible work helping families cope with a brand new diagnosis, helping them find the tools and the resources they need to get through this, as well as the supports they need to ensure that everybody is comfortable and that they're getting what they need. So we're going to delve into that throughout the morning with her, but first, your headlines. A tense encounter in a suburban forest. What led to the assault of a high school student Tuesday morning? Labor trafficking in trucking. Why is the industry under scrutiny, and what indications may suggest laborers are at risk? And groundbreaking for what will be a state-of-the-art place to park, maintain, and recharge Winnipeg's transit fleet. All right, bringing in Terry now. It was a beautiful evening last night. I feel like summer is back a little bit.
Yeah, it's hanging on. I think some of us are perhaps clinging to it as much as it's clinging to September. But honestly, it was beautiful yesterday. Hotter today. Ooh, thank you, Gary, in our control room. He's the guy that sets up our shot, and he knows how much I love the moon. 11 degrees is where we're sitting right now. East-northeast winds. They're very light, just 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising, and the humidity sitting at 92%. Clear conditions, so that moon beautifully on display this morning. An absolutely stunning start once again, and it's going to be a hot one, so brace yourself, because that heat will be coming at you in a very big way, more so than it's been the past couple of days. There is nothing to show you on the satellite image. For a second, I wondered, is this even functioning? It's functioning enough that I can tell it's working. There's just not much to show you at this time. As we continue on through the day, it will remain mainly sunny here in southern Manitoba. Northern Manitoba, just a couple of extra clouds right along that most northern border. You may start to see some precipitation later on today. And then throughout tomorrow, you're going to start to notice a little bit more of that, a little bit further into the south. And then by tomorrow evening, or maybe even tomorrow afternoon, we start to see a little more of that activity developing here through central and southern Manitoba. That'll take us then overnight and throughout Friday. So things could get very active. Possibility of some thunderstorms rolling through. Temperatures, though, they're still going to remain well above seasonal, with 19 degrees being a normal daytime high. We'll be well above it today by almost 10 degrees above seasonal. Less so over the next couple of days, with that chance of precipitation moving in tomorrow afternoon through Friday, and then the sunshine back again, and those temperatures are soaring once again.
Thank you, Terry. There are new concerns over homeless encampments after a high school student was allegedly chased by a man in a tent in Dakota forest. The student was on an outing with their high school gym class when things turned violent. According to the Louis-Riel School Division, a grade 9 phys ed class from Collège Jean Sauvé was in the Dakota forest with their teacher Tuesday morning when this all unfolded. Superintendent Christian Michelik says a group of students walked by a tent when a person came out and chased them. They caught up with one student, causing some injuries that did not require medical attention. It's unclear at this point what exactly caused the student's injuries. Police were called and went to the forest to follow up with the person in question. Michelik says students and staff were also advised to avoid the forest while the school division waits to hear back from police on next steps. Michelik says the incident highlights the ongoing housing crisis in the city that must be resolved.
And so here we are with a situation that expresses itself in this way, and so there's an immediate response, but that we see playing out. But there's just a much larger societal response that we need to see happen.
CTV News has reached out to the Winnipeg Police Service for more details, but we have not yet heard back. A first-of-its-kind campaign is hoping to crack down on labor trafficking within the trucking industry.
It's a very horrific thing that somebody does to another individual, and that's really, it's modern-day slavery.
That's Janet Campbell, president and CEO of the Joy Smith Foundation, who estimates there may be several hundred people in Manitoba at any given time affected by labor trafficking. Oftentimes, she says newcomers are promised good jobs in Canada, only to have their documents seized and wages withheld once they arrive. The new campaign aims to inform those people of their rights and show everyone else how to spot labor trafficking.
From a physical standpoint, you may see that maybe they don't have some of the safety equipment that would be standard within the trucking industry. And there may be issues with the readiness of their vehicle as well.
Other common signs to watch for include having no freedom to leave the job, working extreme hours or in unsafe conditions, or living in poor conditions, often controlled by the employer. The new campaign is in partnership with Crime Stoppers. You can make anonymous tips, and there are cash rewards for tips leading to arrests. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew's popularity is waning, according to a new poll from the Angus Reid Institute. The data released Tuesday shows Kinew is still the most popular among Canada's premiers, with a 61% approval rating, but it's a 7-point fall from the last poll taken in June. The Institute says delaying the Spruce Woods by-election while announcing more than $300 million worth of spending in the area may have led to the drop. Additionally, the pollster says some Manitobans feel Kinew is abandoning the climate crisis in favor of developing infrastructure. Angus Reid surveyed 334 people between August 28th and September 5th. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 5%. Winnipeg Transit has broken ground on its new bus garage in northwest Winnipeg, and on Tuesday it unveiled the final design. The $200 million garage will be located at Selkirk Avenue and Oak Point Highway. The new garage is replacing Transit's oldest garage on Main Street, which can't accommodate modern buses. This massive new 259,000 square foot facility allows Transit to buy and maintain more than 60-foot articulated buses. It will also have electrical chargers for 24 battery electric buses. The garage will feature bays for maintenance, repairs and cleaning, administration space, and a bus loop for future routes. Construction is scheduled to be complete in 2027. Nearly half of people with diabetes around the world don't know they have it. That's according to a new study which found 44% of people aged 15 and older with diabetes are undiagnosed. The research, which looked at data from more than 200 countries and territories, revealed key differences. For example, younger people are much less likely to be diagnosed, and higher income countries are doing a better job of identifying the disease. Experts say early diagnosis is key because undiagnosed diabetes can lead to long-term problems. More than 100,000 people have been evacuated from central Pakistan as floods submerge communities and wash away farmland. Some survivors told local media that many people are still stranded on rooftops and in trees in sweltering conditions. The government has deployed hundreds of boats and thousands of rescuers to hard-hit districts. In Nepal, anti-corruption protests that began last week have intensified. The protests were triggered by a social media ban and have led to the resignation of the country's prime minister and resulted in the deaths of at least 19 people.
If it continues to be how it has been for the last 20 whatever years, then the protests are definitely going to continue. They just want change. They're tired of seeing government officials live lavish lifestyles while the Nepali people are on the streets struggling to make an income.
The social media ban was lifted on Tuesday, but protests continued, with demonstrators setting fire to the homes of some of Nepal's top leaders, along with the parliament building. The airport in the capital of Kathmandu was shut, and army helicopters transported some ministers to safe places. Canadian officials are advising those in the country to avoid demonstrations and government buildings and to expect heavy security measures amid the political unrest. An inspiring film about a gay rights activist is about to make its Manitoba premiere. It's the story of Delwyn Verreed, who was fired from his job as an Alberta teacher.
The King's College was very clear that the reason they were firing me was because I was gay.
Pride versus Prejudice, the Delwyn Verreed story, documents one man's fight against discrimination, resulting in a Supreme Court of Canada decision in 1998 recognizing sexual orientation as a protected human right. It's showing in Winnipeg as part of Real Pride's 40th International Film Festival. The premiere takes place at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights on September 21st, following a panel discussion with the director. Doors open at 1:30. Tickets are available through the Human Rights Museum's website. And here's a look now at what's happening at Confusion Corner. It looks like things are moving really well along this route. No issues to tell you about at this point in the drive. If you see any issues out on the streets, please let us know. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. It's World Alzheimer's Month, and the society here is encouraging Manitobans to get educated and know that if you're struggling through this or supporting someone who is, there are resources available, whether it be a support group over Zoom. All Manitobans can access this virtually or in person. Heck, even send them an email if you have questions. They also have the Care for You conference that they want to tell you about coming up in October, and throughout the year, 2 other programs. Minds in Motion, as we know, the research shows that getting active and social can really alleviate some of those symptoms. So if you're sitting on the couch right now thinking, I could use the support or with a loved one, there are resources here, and we're going to tell you about them.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's nice and dark, but the temperature's not too bad this morning.
No, you're right about that. The temperature is fine. It's the aroma that's not. Oh my goodness, honestly, it's bad this morning. Sometimes I'm just a little bit dramatic. It's bad this morning. Whew. Anytime those winds out of the northeast as they are this morning, it doesn't take much. It's a light wind. I'm sorry, this is bad this morning. It stinks. 11 degrees. I'm going to get through this quickly and get back inside. Pressure is rising. The humidity is sitting at 94%. You remember when you were a kid and somebody would fart in the classroom and then everybody would be like sitting there with their shirt up over their nose because we'd rather smell our own armpits? Whew, that's how I feel this morning. Anyway, it's going to be gorgeous. I hope that wind shifts. It is likely to. The wind should be shifting out of the south for us later today. And I complain about this, but it's only downtown. There are going to be other places that really hate, I'm supposing, when the wind shifts out of the south, because now you're going to get that aroma. Anyway, that wind will be shifting today, but staying on the lighter side. Temperatures will be soaring. It's going to be a well above seasonal day. Plenty of sunshine once that rises, just a few minutes to 7 o'clock. And the heat is coming with it. We're talking some high 20s today, almost 10 degrees above what you would expect this time of year. We're taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Good morning. It is 6:15. Police officers could soon be stationed around the clock at Manitoba's largest hospital. Nurses and doctors at Health Sciences Centre have been raising safety concerns for months. And on Tuesday, the province announced 2 uniformed officers will be on guard 24/7 at HSC. With the details, here's CTV's Jeff Gill.
If she has to go to the hospital, Faith Houle says Health Sciences Centre is not on the top of her list.
I avoid coming to HSC, honestly, because of just the environment of the emergency room. Like, it gets pretty rough.
Mitchell Zaywin says he's seen the safety issues firsthand.
There's certain people that are causing havoc where police would be required.
Now police are on their way. The NDP government says it's staffing 2 uniformed Winnipeg police officers inside HSC 24/7 at a cost of $1.5 or $1.6 million a year.
And it's become very clear that we need to have a dedicated Winnipeg police presence on site to support improved safety and security.
The health minister says the measure could also free up other officers who normally have to wait hours at the hospital with a patient.
Any given day, at any given moment, you can have multiple Winnipeg police officers there. That's not an effective use of their expertise and their resources.
In a statement, Police Chief Gene Bowers said we hope to finalize with the government of Manitoba how police can contribute to a layered safety plan. However, details are still being worked out. The move comes after multiple sexual assaults in and around the hospital. A survey from Doctors Manitoba showed 44% of physician assaults occurred at HSC, and the Manitoba Nurses Union has grey-listed the facility, advising nurses not to take shifts here over safety concerns.
It's a positive step.
The union says this is a good interim move, but they'd rather see current institutional safety officers who work at HSC now given more powers, like the ability to carry batons and detain people.
The police service is already stretched to the limit as it is without utilizing them in a facility if we could be using ISOs.
Faith Houle and Mitchell Zaywin say adding a police presence here just makes sense.
A nurse isn't going to step in and save someone from being assaulted.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The health minister says they are going to continue to work with justice to make sure the safety officers are working to the highest level of their scope. They are also adding 5 weapons scanners at the main public entrances at a cost of $765,000. And this is all part of a larger plan that includes reducing public access points to the campus and improving security in the hospital's tunnel system. The city is making some progress in chipping away at this year's deficit. The second quarter forecast is predicting the city will be $17.7 million in the red by year's end. That's a $1.2 million improvement from the first 3 months of the year. Factoring into the deficit, millions of dollars in saving targets that haven't yet been achieved, lower than expected revenues in the Property and Development Department, and higher overtime for the fire paramedic service. On the flip side, snow clearing is more than $3 million under budget, and the city is making higher interest than expected on some short-term investments. Prime Minister Mark Carney will address his caucus in Edmonton this morning, but before anything starts, protesters have been making their voices heard.
They're making excuses, using weasel words like protecting agreements rather than actually implementing the full law. We don't think that's acceptable.
A group of healthcare advocates held a rally Tuesday. The group wants Prime Minister Carney to uphold the Trudeau government's promises on pharmacare. Alberta has not joined the federal government's pharmacare program. Ahead of Parliament resuming next week, the Liberals will discuss trade and economic issues, as well as the government's push to get major industrial projects launched. Mark Carney will also meet with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith today. The meetings come as Mark Carney inches toward the release of his first federal budget next month. We're now hearing from the wife of an Ottawa man who was killed in that deadly tram crash in Lisbon last week. She was also injured and spoke to CTV News from a Lisbon hospital.
Very, very fast, going in a highway, and everyone was screaming. It was very scary. It crashed. I didn't see him. I called him. I was calling Astis, and he didn't answer.
Not wanting to appear on camera because of the extent of her injuries, Hind Igernan says it took days for her to learn her husband, Aziz Ben Harif, was among the dead. His family back home was also trying to help. The family says Canadian officials could have done more. Global Affairs Canada says consular assistance is being provided to the families of the victims. House prices continue to set records across the Winnipeg metro region in August. According to the Winnipeg Regional Real Estate Board, the average price for a residential detached home rose 8% year over year to nearly $450,600. Condo prices climbed an average of 4% to a little more than $280,000. Silent for more than 800 years, an organ researcher says the oldest organ in the Christian world sounded again in Jerusalem Monday. Researchers believe the Crusaders brought the organ from France to Bethlehem in the 11th century. After a century of use, they buried it to protect it from invading Muslim armies. There it stayed until 1906, when it was discovered by construction workers. That is so cool. Here's a look now at what's happening at Portage at Polo Park. Look at that beautiful sky right now. Traffic looks like it's moving well as well. If you see any problems out there, please let us know.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
Yeah, it is looking gorgeous outside. See, we've still got the moonlight, and then you could see from that last shot that we've got the glow off to the east where the sun will be coming up. Looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Of course, we have to wait a little while for the sun to rise, 6:57, I believe, so just before 7 o'clock. And once it does start to rise, though, we'll be seeing plenty of it today. Throughout the province, it's going to be very clear, very sunny. Temperature-wise, well above seasonal. 7 degrees would be a normal low. Most of us are already well above that. Bang on 7 is Dauphin. Oh, and just below it, I guess, we've got Gimli coming in at 6, but most places are at least in those high single digits, or for some of us, double digits to kick off your morning. Right up into northern Manitoba, we've got some double digits along this western border. 10 degrees warmer than where you are along that eastern border. Churchill-Gillam, a much cooler 2 degrees, but even there, temperatures will be on the rise for today. Nothing to show you on the satellite image, nothing but clear conditions at this time, and it will stay fairly bright and sunny throughout the day today. 11 degrees expected as we're sending kids off to school. 27 by the time they're coming home again, and that's not even our high temperature. Will probably top out at about 28 degrees today, well above normal. 19, that would be a seasonal daytime high. It won't be quite as hot the next couple of days and not quite as sunny. We might start out with some sunshine tomorrow, but by the afternoon, showers with some thunderstorms. That'll continue overnight and throughout Friday. Then the sunshine is back and those mid-20 temperatures stick around through next week. A couple of bald eagles. What an incredible capture out, or photograph taken out in the Riding Mountain National Park area. He did not capture those birds. They are still free as bees, or bald eagles. Thanks to Paul, and keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca. We're taking a break, and we'll be right back.
Good morning. The Camew vehicle manufacturing plant in Ingersoll, Ontario has been shut down since the spring, and General Motors now says it won't resume operations until mid-November. As CTV's Brian Bicknell reports, on top of that, there will be even more layoffs than expected.
Camew began producing the Bright Drop delivery van in 2022, but that new era in EV production in Canada has now turned to new disappointments for those who make the vehicle.
And when we do come back to work, it's only going to be one shift.
Camew went on shutdown this past spring with sales of the Bright Drop not as robust as expected. Unifor Local 88, which represents workers at the plant, says it has been informed by GM the plant will reopen mid-November with just 400 people. That's down from 1,050 and significantly less than the 600 union officials expected would be back.
There'll be layoffs. We've gone through the company right now to talk about retirement incentives. Anybody who may want to quit, give them some money and hopefully narrow our numbers down. But it's going to be tough on hundreds of people.
In a written response to CTV News, GM says this is not related to tariffs. We are taking proactive, strategic steps to ensure our operations remain aligned with real-time demand.
I think it's certainly a continuation of the reason why the layoff happened in the first place, of slower sales, but there's a lot of things that are going on, certainly south of the border, that don't help the situation. I know that there's cancellations of shifts at their Detroit plant as well, so this is not just an Ingersoll item, it's an overall economic situation.
The news coming as the federal government announces it's delaying a plan to force automakers to hit minimum sales levels for EVs. GM says it welcomes this first step to align regulations to consumer demand. Adding insult to injury, this brand new battery plant built on site at Camew specifically to produce batteries for the Bright Drop vehicles will sit idle for the foreseeable future, with batteries to equip the vehicles coming from south of the border, according to Unifor.
We are the only battery plant in Canada for GM, and we won't be building them, so they're going to come from, I'm assuming 99% sure it's going to come out of the U.S., which just shows you exactly what's going on with the tariffs.
That one's going to hurt.
That's going to hurt hard.
GM says the battery plant shutdown is part of a temporary adjustment to align production to consumer demands and manage battery levels. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
It's World Alzheimer's Month. We're going to find out a little bit more about some of the resources and programs available at the Alzheimer Society of Manitoba. Stay with us.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
All right, we are looking at clear conditions this morning. Plenty of sunshine out there and barely a breeze. Our temperatures this morning, they're already well above seasonal. 11 degrees is where we're sitting right now. You can compare that to a seasonal low of 7. but there's a bit of a breeze, and I've been complaining about the aroma. It's an east-northeast wind, but that'll likely be shifting through the day today, coming out of the south later on this afternoon. The satellite image is showing nothing right now because there's really nothing going on. There's a beautiful full moon on display still till about 6:57 when that sun finally starts to rise. And then once it does, we'll enjoy plenty of sunshine throughout the day today. 28 degrees, and those winds, yes, to shift out of the south, but still remaining light at about 10K winds. Overnight, they might increase ever so slightly to 15K winds, but still very clear. 14 degrees is where we'll likely fall to overnight with those temperatures, again, well above seasonal. And tomorrow's daytime highs won't be quite as hot as today, and it might not be quite as sunny. First thing in the morning, it likely will be, but then we'll see the clouds building up through the day and that chance of showers into the afternoon. Showers, maybe even some thunderstorms, and that'll take us through Thursday afternoon, overnight, and right into Friday. Now, Friday is likely to be a little bit soggy or stormy with that temperature still above seasonal, but it warms up even more so as we're looking ahead to the weekend, and we're going to get that sunshine back again and lasting into next week.
Thank you, Terry. A family in mourning says it's been shaken once again. The man accused in a deadly crash that claimed the life of their daughter earlier this year has allegedly breached his bail conditions. CTV's Harrison Shin explains.
I absolutely lost my knees.
It's been a roller coaster of emotion for Michelle Best and her family. Kelly Verway died in a 3-vehicle crash in January. 25-year-old James Hilton, the man accused of causing that collision, was charged with operating a vehicle while impaired. Now, he's been accused of breaching his bail conditions.
This justice system needs change.
According to his release order, Hilton was only allowed to live at a treatment center. However, Best says she learned he walked away. Tuesday afternoon, Hilton was arrested without incident.
The Justice Minister said this must be nonpartisan and pledged swift and decisive action. This government has done nothing but say this is a federal issue.
PC leader Abi Khan says this isn't a case where the province can point the finger at Ottawa.
The administration of justice is a provincial responsibility. It was a provincial court judge who released this person to an unsecured facility, which led to his escape.
Family members met with the Justice Minister after the press conference.
Their frustration is the same kind of frustration that we've had, that the Premier expressed, along with the First Ministers across the country.
For Best, she says she can't see any changes being made.
Maybe there's a million things going on, but it's not making a difference.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
RCMP say Hilton is being held in custody in Winnipeg. None of the charges against him have been tested in court. Developing news this morning, Poland says it has shot down Russian drones violating its airspace during aerial attacks on Ukraine. Poland's prime minister says 19 Russian drones entered the country's airspace overnight, and 4 of them were shot down. Speaking ahead of an emergency meeting, Donald Tusk says it was the first time Russian drones had been shot down over Poland. Citizens in 3 Polish regions along the Ukrainian border were told to stay at home. Ukraine's Air Force says Russia's attack involved 415 drones, 1 ballistic, and 42 cruise missiles. Airports in Poland have reopened and the military operation has ended. U.S. Congress has gotten a look at some remarkable video of a mystery aircraft off of Yemen's coast.
Does this video scare you guys? Yes or no?
Yes.
Wiggins?
Yes. Yes.
Those are U.S. service members giving their own eyewitness accounts, reacting to this footage of what's referred to as a glowing orb. The object taking a direct hit from a U.S. drone as it flies over the water and speeding away seemingly undamaged. This video was shot last October. All but 1 service member said the video scared them. One just saying he's happy the video has been released. You can get calendars with pictures of musicians, movies, and sports heroes, and now you'll be able to get one with a well-known red helicopter, the Stars Air Ambulance.
I think you'll agree the photography is outstanding, and it really helps tell our story of innovation, resilience, and community.
Stars is releasing a 2026 calendar. Inside, you will find pictures of 3 Stars Air Ambulance helicopters. There's 5 months with Stars crew members, and you'll also find 3 months featuring 3 VIPs, or very important patients, who experience Stars life-saving efforts.
without stars flying in to get him in challenging circumstances and the fight to keep him alive to get back, we wouldn't be here. Like our life as we knew it would have been completely decimated. So to be able to be here and help fundraise and help bring awareness is just something we can do to give back to what we needed.
The 2026 STARS calendar is now available to purchase, with all proceeds going to STARS. For details, go to starscalendar.ca. As the old saying goes, slow and steady wins the race. That comes from the fable The Tortoise and the Hare. And just like one of its title characters, CTV cameras caught up with a turtle trolling a Winnipeg street that is as slow as he is big.
Why are we not coming across? But
CTV photojournalist Dan Timmerman captured this titanic turtle going for a slow but steady stroll in the Niagara Place neighborhood Tuesday night. Residents gathered around to relish as the reptile waddled by and into the sunset. Looks like he was headed for the pond to cool off from this early September heat. A Croatian village has made the record books with a massive chain of strudels. Their line of strudels is more than 3 kilometers long. The total with 8,940 strudels, which all secures them a Guinness World Record title. Looks good. All right, here's a look at what's happening on the Norwood Bridge. Looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point. If you have any issues out on the drive, though, please let us know. And let's take a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.43. The provincial average is $1.36. In Winnipeg, the average is also $1.36. The lowest price in the city is $1.26. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
It's World Alzheimer's Month, and joining us now from the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba is Ainsley McPhail. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. And Manitoba, did you know that it is World Alzheimer's Month? Well, if you didn't, we've got resources here, and that's a main takeaway at the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba. CEO joins me, Aaron Crawford. That's what you want people to know. If they're struggling through this, help is there.
Yeah, absolutely. So World Alzheimer's Month is an opportunity to create some general awareness. So if it's your friends or neighbors that you're seeing something in, letting you know that there's things that you can do to help be helpful. And people who either themselves are watching today and noticing changes in themselves or someone that they love, that you don't have to navigate all of this on your own. There is a place where we can help.
What are some of those signs?
Often the thing that people are most familiar with would be memory loss. So that is really common, but there's other things like communication changes, not being able to find a word that you normally could, or becoming a little bit disoriented in where you are in really familiar places, or judgment issues around perhaps wearing something that's really inappropriate for the weather that day, you know, a parka in July or a t-shirt in January. Some of those things that are just different than what we normally would do can be signs of dementia, but you should go talk to your doctor if you're noticing any of those.
That sounds extremely frustrating, confusing, and just an array of emotions. If they need resources, there's something different for everyone to their specific need.
Yeah, absolutely. So a dementia diagnosis or suspecting dementia can be really overwhelming. You do not have to do it alone. The Alzheimer's Society has all kinds of information and resources for any type of dementia, even though our name is Alzheimer's Society, any type of dementia, and you can come and we can give you exactly what you might need for the step that you're at so that you can figure out what your path forward should be.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We have more conversations and tons of resources here. We just couldn't fit it in this segment. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. And it's going to be another hot day today, maybe even hotter than yesterday.
You're right about that. And these temperatures, yes, they've been well above seasonal for this week. But you remember last week how cool it was feeling. That's just not the case for us now. 7 degrees would be a normal low temperature. And we're coming in at 11 right now. There's a bit of a breeze, but it's so very light. The winds at this time, they're just just 9 kilometers per hour out of the east-northeast, but they will likely be shifting later today. A south wind is expected, but still remaining very light. Normals this time of year, 19 for a high, 7 for a low, and like I said, we're going to be well above that today. Satellite image, well, really not much to see here, and that's because it is so very clear this morning. We are still waiting for the sun to rise, 6:57, so still a few minutes to go. It's pretty dark out there for now, but it is clear and will stay that way throughout most of the province today. Northern Manitoba might see a few extra clouds, maybe some precipitation, which later on into the overnight or tomorrow morning will start to move through a little bit further south and then further south yet. By tomorrow, we might start out with some sunshine into the afternoon and then continuing overnight and through Friday, that chance of showers or thunderstorms is there. Temperatures, though, even though they will drop off a little bit, I mean, we'll get up to 28 today and then cooling ever so slightly, but still remaining above the seasonal 19 degrees. And then the sunshine is back and the mercury staying warm. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
Looking at the early markets, futures are pointing to a strong opening on Wall Street. Dow futures are up 196 points. NASDAQ futures are up 2 by 80 points. S&P futures in the black, up 17 points. The Canadian dollar seeing a dip this morning. Overseas, the Hang Seng is on the rise, up 262 points, while Japan's Nikkei is also up 378 points. Good morning. It is 6:46. People in Winnipeg's Crestview neighborhood are speaking out. They're worried and upset about what they're finding in Ridley Park. As CTV's Joseph Bernacki shows you, the park was filled with beds, garbage, and not too long ago, dozens of needles.
This is an encampment, basically, and I'm thinking it's two people because there's a bed there and a bed there.
For 35 years, Terry Schofield has lived near Ridley Park, but over the last few years, he feels the place he enjoys spending time in has become increasingly unsafe. His concern? People moving into the park, leaving garbage and needles behind.
It's been in the last 2 to 3 years that it's really noticeable.
These images were taken by Schofield on August 7th and September 8th. As you can see, he found needles, garbage, and says he sometimes sees people sleeping in the park at night. It's become a safety concern for Schofield and his neighbors.
Safety. Safety for the neighborhood, safety for everybody. Everybody in the neighborhood this way walks through it at some point during the day.
Including Schofield's neighbor Peter Laycock, who enjoys walking his dog Sammy in the park every day.
That's a good boy.
Laycock's suggestion? Have the city of Winnipeg trim back the bushes where he's noticed people hiding.
They're encouraging people to stay there all the time. They can just walk, and if you look in the middle of the bush, there's like a house in there.
Sean Dobson, city councillor for the St. James ward, says this isn't the first time residents have brought concerns to him about safety in Ridley Park.
I'm kind of upset that this is going on and the amount of needles. So my thoughts are that I'm going to have to get Public Works down here to do a thorough inspection a little more often.
By Tuesday afternoon, the garbage was cleared by city crews. Dobson hopes a new motion approved by a city committee Monday will make a difference going forward. It prohibits encampments near schools and playgrounds.
We would not allow an encampment within 50 meters of a playground such as this. Therefore, there would be no bedding in the corner.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The city of Winnipeg has a proactive cleanup program, although Ridley Park wasn't a part of it. Hundreds of people have been arrested during nationwide protests in France this morning. This is the scene in Paris where police and protesters clashed during the so-called Block Everything protests. Groups of protesters tried to block traffic and cause other disruptions, but they were met by 80,000 police officers deployed by the government. Protests are happening as France's new prime minister takes office today. The Block Everything movement started as a response to government spending cuts. The United Nations Security Council will meet today to talk about Israel's strike against Hamas inside Qatar. A measure of calm returned to Doha this morning, a day after the attack. Hamas says 5 of its members were killed, but its top leadership survived. The strike has drawn condemnation from the international community and Canada. Qatar has been hosting indirect talks for a Gaza ceasefire. Those talks have now been put on hold.
Current talks, I don't think there is something valid right now, while after we're seeing such an attack.
Israel justified the strike by saying it targeted Hamas leaders behind the October 7th attacks. Qatar calls it a violation of international law. This as U.S. President Donald Trump distances himself from Israel's actions.
I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. It's not a good situation. But I will say this, we want the hostages back.
The Trump administration said it was given an advance notice about the strike, but it was still too late to warn Qatar. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved large-scale human trials of pig kidney transplants. The biotech company eGenesis says its gene-edited pigs are bred so their organs are more compatible with humans. The company uses technology which lets scientists remove a gene that would normally trigger immediate rejection. The approval comes after several experimental transplants in the U.S. where patients with no other options received pig kidneys and even pig hearts. Right now, more than 100,000 Americans are waiting for an organ donation, most of them kidneys. People on this whale-watching tour in the Pacific Ocean got a rare treat.
So initially we saw one, and then as we hung around with that one, we noticed a second whale. And throughout the day, they got closer and closer until they were side by side, literally rubbing against one another.
Amazing. They spotted not one, but 2 sperm whales. This is the first time in years the elusive whales have been even spotted in the area around San Diego. And here's what's happening now on McPhillip Street. Things are moving well over here, picking up though, as you can see. No issues to tell you about in the drive this morning. If you see any issues, please let us know.
All right, very cool. Okay, out on the streets, yeah, you're still driving around in the dark, but moments away from that sun rising, 6:57. So we're almost there. As far as temperatures go, it's a mild start to your day. 11 degrees right now with just a light breeze. It's out of the east-northeast. The wind, it is likely to shift throughout the day today, but starting out of the northeast, that'll become a south wind later on today. And as far as what's happening on the satellite image, there's nothing to show you. It is a very clear start, and that's the case right across the entire province. Barely any clouds. With the warmth of the sun, once it rises today, of course, temperatures will be climbing well above seasonal. I'm talking high teens right up into the northeastern corner. If you're not there, low 20s. Some areas will do even better yet. These values are well above what you would expect for this time of year. Maybe a few more clouds up in some parts of the northeast, the northwest, especially later on today. But the sunshine, like I said, will take the values well above normal. We've got very clear conditions expected here through the south, both through the day and overnight, and still tomorrow morning we'll start out with the sunshine. But tomorrow afternoon, things could start to change a little bit because that's when we're probably going to see the beginnings of some precipitation here in the south, whereas northern Manitoba could be seeing them by this evening, in fact. So with that chance of showers or maybe thunderstorms that'll continue overnight and through Friday, you'll notice the temperatures dropping just a little bit. But I mean, compared to what is normal, 19 degrees, we're still staying above that. And then with the sunshine back, mercury on the rise again, it's going to be another gorgeous, if not warm, weekend.
Thank you, Terry. A new snapshot shows more Canadians are hitting the brakes on the idea of buying EVs. But there are certain factors that could have them reconsider. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin explains what they are.
If Canadians were in the driver's seat, it seems Chinese-made EVs could have an easier road into the local market, at least according to a Nanos survey. It found 6 in 10 Canadians support removing 100% tax on all Chinese-made electric vehicles. This in hopes China may remove tariffs against Canadian crops like canola.
These jobs are not easy.
The agriculture minister said today the tariffs are under review, but that any decision would take a look at the impacts on other sectors.
We'll see where that leads, but the discussions are ongoing and we're in a very fragile position.
Maurice Hébert is among drivers wanting to open up the market to China, though he is still far from going electric.
They're very, very upgraded.
But still, would you buy one of the Chinese?
No, we got the same problem, the battery.
New numbers show EV sales dropped 39% since last year, and plug-in hybrids 2%.
It's going to be a more efficient transition if we open up the market so that anyone who can provide quality electric vehicles that our consumers choose to buy, there will be only that much more choice for consumers.
Without tariffs, but also without adding the cost of safety certification and shipping, the price tag for a Chinese-made Seagull by BYD, now the world's largest EV manufacturer, is around $13,800. Some in Canada's industry say the low cost could come at a high price.
Certainly, running around with a blind spot isn't good, but also giving away your market because pressure, because EV enthusiasts would like to see these Chinese vehicles. Well, the enthusiasts don't employ anybody.
Ottawa has said that Canadian consumers deserve cheaper EVs, but some manufacturers say scrapping tariffs isn't the way to go. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
The mayor of a city north of Toronto has taken the rare step of declaring a state of emergency over the growing number of encampments. In the city of Barrie, there are currently about 20 of them, in which around 600 people currently live. Here's CTV's Heather Wright on what the declaration means.
From his front steps, Michael Gervais has a clear view of Barrie's encampment challenges. More than a dozen tents dot the sidewalk, a number he says is growing.
The drug use is rampant out here. It's nonstop. It's all day.
Gervais says in addition to drug use, violence is escalating as well. Recently, 2 pieces of metal rebar were thrown at his house.
One hit close to the door, and the other one came through the window.
Today, Barrie's mayor declared a state of emergency over homeless encampments, citing a recent double homicide, fires, overdoses, and excessive E. coli levels in the city's waterways.
It's not a safe environment for the folks who are living there. It's not a safe environment for those who are around them, who are walking by them.
The emergency declaration covers all city-run public spaces, including parks, sidewalks, and trails, and will allow staff to more aggressively enforce encampment protocols, including dismantling sites considered the most high risk. The city has also earmarked more resources for addiction, mental health, and housing. But Mayor Alex Nuttall adds if people don't accept help and get off the street, they won't be allowed to stay in the city.
The folks who've been offered help and offered support, if they don't take it, that's their choice. That's not the people of Barrie's choice.
Encampments have been growing in cities across the country, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. A lack of affordable housing, limited support services, and nowhere else to go have pushed many to live in tents. At Milligan's Pond in Barrie, a site that was cleared last month, this man has returned.
Look where we live, man. Like straight up.
And says he feels he has no other choice.
Advocates say simply removing encampments doesn't address the root issue, simply moves the problem elsewhere. Barrie has not said when they will begin removing these sites, but say it will likely take months. Heather Wright, CTV News, Barrie, Ontario.
Good morning. It is 7 o'clock on Wednesday, September the 10th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Thank you so much for being with us. The Park Theatre, all kinds of really great entertainment there. You could see some live shows. You could see some comedy, as well as some really unique plays. So we're going to talk about the Park Theatre. It is celebrating a huge milestone, 20 years in South Osborne. So we're going to break it down, what they're doing to celebrate, and the history of it, how it all began 20 years ago. But first, your headlines. Beefing up security, how the province is working to improve safety at Manitoba's largest hospital. Plus a financial fee, what kind of progress has been made on Winnipeg's year-end deficit. And keeping the top spot, what a new poll shows about Premier Wab Kinew's popularity. Bringing in Terry now. The weather yesterday, fantastic, and it's just going to be even better today.
Yeah, for those that like the heat anyway, because now we're getting back into those like hot temperatures, right? When we're looking at daytime highs that are almost 10 degrees above seasonal. Now, it's not going to seem quite so hot. Well, I mean, it will this afternoon. But because the sun has only just started to rise, what time is it now? 7:01. And we're talking minutes ago at 6:57. That sun only just started to rise. So it's going to take some time before we're really starting to warm up. However, we are a little bit above seasonal to kick off your morning. 7 degrees would be a normal low. And we're sitting at 11 right now. Winds on the lighter side, they're out of the east-northeast. They'll likely be shifting throughout the day today out of the south later this afternoon. But overall, it's a mild start to your day. Warmer than you might expect for this time of year. Clear conditions, so satellite image has really nothing going going on here. And looking at the futurecast to see how the day plays out, well, it's starting out very clear throughout most of the province. We might, however, start to see just a little bit of clouds and some scattered precipitation moving along that most northern border. And then you're going to start to notice that moving down into a little bit further south, still remaining through the north. But here's tomorrow morning, and you can see it's not quite the northern border. It's more into the north central part of the province. Now, here's a look tomorrow afternoon. So while we might start out with the sunshine tomorrow after clear conditions are expected overnight, by tomorrow afternoon, the possibility of showers or thunderstorms beginning, and that'll continue then through the afternoon, overnight, and into Friday. Soggy end to the work week, but sunshine back again for the weekend. Temperature-wise, hot today, up to 28 degrees. 19 degrees is normal for this time of year, so I've been saying almost 10 degrees above what you would expect. Then cooling ever so slightly. However, even when it cools with the showers and the rain moving through, it still remains above seasonal and then warms up again when the sunshine returns this weekend. We have no art to show you, but if you send me some, then maybe I'll have something to show you tomorrow. Draw, color, paint. Send your artwork, please, to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. Police officers could soon be stationed around the clock at Manitoba's largest hospital. Nurses and doctors at Health Sciences Centre have been raising safety concerns for months. And on Tuesday, the province announced 2 uniformed officers will be on guard 24/7 at HSC. With the details, here's CTV's Jeff Keel.
If she has to go to the hospital, Faith Houle says Health Sciences Centre is not on the top of her list.
I avoid coming to HSC, honestly, because of just the environment of the emergency room. Like, it gets pretty rough.
Mitchell Zaywin says he's seen the safety issues firsthand.
There's certain people that are causing havoc where police would be required.
Now police are on their way. The NDP government says it's staffing 2 uniformed Winnipeg police officers inside HSC 24/7 at a cost of $1.5 or $1.6 million a year.
And it's become very clear that we need to have a dedicated Winnipeg police presence on site to support improved safety and security.
The health minister says the measure could also free up other officers who normally have to wait hours at the hospital with a patient.
Any given day, at any given moment, you can have multiple Winnipeg police officers there. That's not an effective use of their expertise and their resources.
In a statement, Police Chief Gene Bowers said, "We hope to finalize with the government of Manitoba how police can contribute to a layered safety plan. However, details are still being worked out." The move comes after multiple sexual assaults in and around the hospital. A survey from Doctors Manitoba showed 44% of physician assaults occurred at HSC, and the Manitoba Nurses Union has grey-listed the facility, advising nurses not to take shifts here over safety concerns.
It's a positive step.
The union says this is a good interim move, but they'd rather see current institutional safety officers who work at HSC now given more powers, like the ability to carry batons and detain people.
The police service is already stretched to the limit as it is without utilizing them in a facility if we could be using ISOs.
Faith Houle and Mitchell Zaywin say adding a police presence here just makes sense.
A nurse isn't going to step in and save someone from being assaulted.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The health minister says they're going to continue to work with Justice to make sure the safety officers are working to the highest level of their scope. They're also adding 5 weapons scanners at the main public entrances at a cost of $765,000. And this is all part of a larger plan that includes reducing public access points to the campus and improving security in the hospital's tunnel system. The city is making some progress in chipping away at this year's deficit. The second quarter forecast is predicting the city will be $17.7 million in the red by year's end. That's a $1.2 million improvement from the first 3 months of the year. Factoring into the deficit, millions of dollars in saving targets that haven't yet been achieved, lower than expected revenues in the Property and Development Department, and higher overtime for the fire paramedic service. On the flip side, snow clearing is more than $3 million under budget, and the city is making higher interest than expected on some short-term investments. Manitoba Premier Rob Kinew's popularity is waning, according to a new poll from the Angus Reid Institute. The data released Tuesday shows Kinew is still the most popular among Canada's premiers, with a 61% approval rating. But it's a 7-point fall from the last poll taken in June. The Institute says delaying the Spruce Woods by-election while announcing more than $300 million worth of spending in the area may have led to the drop. Additionally, the pollster says some Manitobans feel Kinew is abandoning the climate crisis in favor of developing infrastructure. Angus Reid surveyed 334 people between August 28th and September 5th. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 5%. Prime Minister Mark Carney will address his caucus in Edmonton this morning, but before anything starts, protesters have been making their voices heard.
They're making excuses, using weasel words like protecting agreements rather than actually implementing the full law. We don't think that's acceptable.
A group of healthcare advocates held a rally Tuesday. The group wants Prime Minister Carney to uphold the Trudeau government's promises on pharmacare. Alberta has not joined the federal government's pharmacare program. Ahead of Parliament resuming next week, the Liberals will discuss trade and economic issues, as well as the government's push to get major industrial projects launched. Mark Carney will also meet with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith today. The meetings come as Mark Carney inches toward the release of his first federal budget next month. In Nepal, anti-corruption protests that began last week have intensified. The protests were triggered by a social media ban and have led to the resignation of the country's prime minister and resulted in the deaths of at least 19 people.
If it continues to be how it has been for the last 20 whatever years, then the protests are definitely going to continue. They just want change. They're tired of seeing government officials live lavish lifestyles while the Nepali people are on the streets struggling to make an income.
The social media ban was lifted on Tuesday, but protests continued, with demonstrators setting fire to the homes of some of Nepal's top leaders, along with the parliament building. The airport in the capital of Kathmandu was shut, and army helicopters transported some ministers to safe places. Canadian officials are advising those in the country to avoid demonstrations and government buildings and to expect heavy security measures amid the political unrest. Silent for more than 800 years, an organ researcher says the oldest organ in the Christian world sounded again in Jerusalem Monday. Researchers believe the Crusaders brought the organ from France to Bethlehem in the 11th century. After a century of use, they buried it to protect it from invading Muslim armies. There it stayed until 1906, when it was discovered by construction workers.
This is an amazing set of information that allows us to reconstruct the manufacturing process so that we can build pipes exactly as they were made 1,000 years ago.
Researchers hope to start creating copies of the original for churches across Europe. And here's a look now what's happening at Kenaston and Sterling Line. It looks like things are moving well. Starting off this Wednesday morning, no issues to tell you about at this point. Let's go to Ainsley now, who's with the Alzheimer Society of Manitoba. Good morning, Ainsley.
Hi, Rochelle. World Alzheimer's Month, over 20,000 Manitobans who are dealing with this, living with this, I should say, dealing with this. So many more, because we're thinking about the caregivers as well here at Alzheimer's Society Manitoba. And there are resources. First, they want you to be educated. But second, they want to provide support. And that comes from the first diagnosis or questions of a diagnosis all the way until end of life care. So it's not just about wearing purple or having that purple ribbon for the month. It's about finding sustainable support. So whether that's seen through a support group, which can be done in person or over Zoom, hitting those 20,000 Manitobans, so rural Manitobans dealing with this isolation as well, and so much more. There's also the Care for You conference coming up in October, so we'll tell you about that a little later on.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. And let's go back to Terry now. Another look at weather this morning. Yesterday, Terry, we had to put the air conditioner back on.
Right, I know. I think a lot of people were kind of surprised by how warm it got yesterday, myself included. Well above seasonal. Not that I minded it. It was quite pleasant. Speaking of pleasant, a look outside this morning, and how gorgeous is that? So the sun is up now. We're looking at clear sky. Yeah, city looks good when it's like this, isn't it? Now, here's the thing. It has dropped off a little bit. We were actually warmer last hour than we are right now. 9 degrees is where we're sitting with northeast winds 4 kilometers per hour. As far as the winds go, they're shifting or will be shifting. It's a northeast wind this morning, but that'll become a south wind for later today. The clear conditions, though, those will last throughout. And while the sun has only just started to rise now, once it really gets a little higher in the sky and throws some warmth our way, we're going to see the temperatures really starting to skyrocket to a high of 28 today, with those winds out of the south staying on the lighter side, maybe increasing slightly overnight. The winds I'm talking about, temperatures themselves will be dropping overnight but remaining well above the seasonal 7 degrees for a low, and a normal daytime high would be about 19, so we'll be almost 10 above it today. Not quite as warm tomorrow and not quite as sunny. While we might kick off the day with sunshine, we'll see some clouds increasing, some possible precipitation into the afternoon, some showers, maybe thunderstorms that'll take us right into Friday, but from there the sunshine, that'll be back again as we look ahead to the weekend.
Thank you, Terry. At CTV Morning Live, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, whether they're furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing. We want more. Whether they're dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca. And then catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on CTV Morning Live. We're going to take a break here. Here's a look at what's happening on the Bavache Bridge. Looks beautiful so far. See you after this short break. Good morning, it's 7:15. A first of its kind campaign is hoping to crack down on labor trafficking within the trucking industry.
It's a very horrific thing that somebody does to another individual, and that's really, it's modern day slavery.
That's Janet Campbell, president and CEO of the Joyce Smith Foundation, who estimates there may be several hundred people in Manitoba at any given time affected by labor trafficking. Oftentimes, she says newcomers are promised good jobs in Canada only to have their documents seized and wages withheld once they arrive. The new campaign aims to inform those people of their rights and show everyone else how to spot labor trafficking.
From a physical standpoint, you may see that maybe they don't have some of the safety equipment that would be standard within the trucking industry. And there may be issues with the readiness of their vehicle as well.
Other common signs to watch for include having no freedom to leave the job, working extreme hours or in unsafe conditions, or living in poor conditions, often controlled by the employer. The new campaign is in partnership with Crime Stoppers. You can make anonymous tips, and there are cash rewards for tips leading to arrests. House prices continue to set records across the Winnipeg metro region in August. According to the Winnipeg Regional Real Estate Board, the average price for a residential detached home rose 8% year over year to nearly $450,600. Condo prices climbed an average of 4% to a little more than $280,000. Hundreds of people have been arrested during nationwide protests in France this morning. This is the scene in Paris where police and protesters clashed during the so-called Block Everything protests. Groups of protesters tried to block traffic and cause other disruptions, but they were met by 80,000 police officers deployed by the government. Protests are happening as France's new prime minister takes office today. The Block Everything movement started as a response to government spending cuts. As the old saying goes, slow and steady wins the race. That comes from the fable The Tortoise and the Hare. And just like one of its title characters, CTV cameras caught up with a turtle trolling a Winnipeg street that is as slow as he is big.
Why are we coming across? But
CTV photojournalist Dan Timmerman captured this titanic turtle going for a slow but steady stroll in the Niagara Place neighborhood Tuesday night. Residents gathered around to relish as the reptile waddled by and into the sunset. Looks like he was headed for that pond to cool off from this early September heat. And here's what's happening now on Osborne Street. It looks like traffic has picked up slightly and overall moving quite well. If you see any problems out in your drive, please let us know.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
A stand-up comic taking the world by storm is coming to Winnipeg.
No man's ever woken up with a free Saturday and thought to himself, sweet, flea market.
Brad Williams is bringing his high-energy show to Club Regent. Williams' latest stand-up special has gone viral on YouTube with more than 7 million views. He's one of the sharpest, most original comedic voices working today, with fearless observations on disability, relationships, and race. He's made TV appearances on The Tonight Show and Jimmy Kimmel Live. Brad Williams, the Tall Tales Tour, is slated for the Club Regent Event Center on March 28th, 2026. Tickets go on sale Thursday through Ticketmaster. The Winnipeg Jewish Theatre is opening its season with a bang.
Whatever's happening in your life, we can talk about it. I promise. I will listen.
Job, the play, follows the story of Jane and her sessions with a therapist who suspects her job may be more harmful than helpful. It's a razor-sharp psychological thriller about ambition, burnout, and the digital forces shaping our lives.
It's really a discussion about technology and the line between real and online life. It's an awesome thriller. It'll keep you on the edge of your seat. It tries to really make you chase it. And at the end, there's a puzzle that you almost have to unravel on your own.
Job, the play, opens on Thursday at the Winnipeg Jewish Theatre on Doncaster Street. It runs September 11th to the 21st. Get tickets at wjt.ca. And here's your primetime lineup for tonight. Food is the focus early on with MasterChef at 7 and Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service at 8. Then at 9, shift into comedy with back-to-back episodes of Shifting Gears. At 10, Martin Short hosts Match Game.
All right, looking again through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Cool to see how the moon stays, I mean, obviously up in the sky, but that we can still see it once the sun is already up. I noticed that yesterday too, and it's just one of those fun marvels to enjoy. As far as the temperatures go right now, it's still well above seasonal. Normal low would be about 7 degrees. We have dipped this past hour, but we're still remaining above that. 9 degrees right now in Winnipeg, double digits for anyone just off to the west of us and even further to the east, but just tucked in this southeastern corner, a little bit cooler at the more seasonal 7 degrees, or even a little below that. We've got Gimli and Dauphin coming in at 6 this morning. 3 degrees, that's where you're sitting up in the far northeastern part of the province, well below where you are in the northwestern part of Manitoba. Double digits for you to kick things off, but even there, high teens is where you're headed today up in the northeast, and plenty of sunshine no matter where you are across the entire province. As far as bus time goes, 11 probably by the time it comes around to collect kids and take them to school. By the time it's dropping them off again, 27 degrees. That puts us well above seasonal, and that's not even the hottest temperature. 28 is where we'll probably top out into the afternoon, and then it will be cooling down only slightly though for the next couple of days, with some sunshine tomorrow, but by tomorrow afternoon, showers, maybe thunderstorms that'll continue overnight and through Friday, and then the sunshine is back. Mercury bumps back up again, and we've got some mid-20s lasting well into the start of next week. And our weather picture is an incredible shot of these two bald eagles who Paul was able to take the picture of out in Riding Mountain National Park. Thank you for this, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca.
Thank you, Terry. A scary attraction will return early next month, and we want you to join in on the fun. Heebie-Jeebies features over 1 kilometer of mazes, photo ops, carnival games, and more than 140 characters and 150 animatronic scares. We're giving away tickets for a special night on Friday, October 3rd for you and 3 friends or family members, and you can join our friends from Virgin 1031. To enter the contest page on our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, enter your details, and don't forget the keyword boo. Good luck. Prime Minister Mark Carney has been teasing an announcement on housing in the next few days. It will come after new numbers show housing starts are at their lowest level in 30 years in one region where the need is the greatest. CTV's Mike Le Couture reports.
The Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says slowdowns in Vancouver and Toronto weighed on the overall number of housing starts, and there is a concern it could affect housing supply in the future. Home building in Toronto fell to its lowest level on a per capita basis since 1996. According to a report from Canada's National Housing Agency, Vancouver also saw a drop in housing starts compared to the first half of last year.
There's this slowdown in activity that will potentially recreate kind of those issues in terms of pressures on prices, pressures on rents.
The CMHC says pre-construction sales are slumping by double digits in Toronto, which is forcing developers to delay project launches in a city that is in desperate need of new homes.
The cost of construction has gone up drastically, and the number of people that are out there looking to buy has gone down again drastically as well.
A near record pace of apartment construction in Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, Ottawa, and Halifax helped offset the sluggish numbers in Vancouver and Toronto. Developers believe cities could see even more growth without municipal development charges, which help pay for roads and sewers.
We need to be able to reduce that for, even if it means just completely eliminating it for a good period of time so that our industry can pick up.
Red tape is another complaint, which Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre would reduce with a suite of measures.
Get rid of the sales tax, cut the development charges in half, speed up the permits, zero tax on reinvested gains.
In a statement, a spokesperson for Housing Minister Gregor Robertson said the government is going to build homes at a pace and scale not seen in generations, pointing to a yet-to-be-announced program called Build Canada Homes. However, there are still no details on the measures the Liberals intend to implement. Mike Lecoulteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba offers families some education. It's free, it's online. We're going to find out more after the break. Stay with us. World Alzheimer's Month, and when a family gets a diagnosis they don't know where to turn, the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba offers all kinds of free resources online. Good morning, Ainsley.
Rochelle, it's all about that first conversation, right? You're dealing with this and sitting with it, and taking that first step is really important. So the family education piece is huge. Alana Evans joins us now to tell us all about it. So who is really impacted by this, Alana?
Yeah, so our family education is for anyone really who's looking for more information. So the individuals themselves who have been recently diagnosed with dementia, the family members, just members of the community really.
Mm-hmm. And what's available?
So we have free online virtual sessions. They typically happen on Zoom. We offer them about 2 times a month, and they typically happen on Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're exploring a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we have a variety of topics. We have the basic topics, what is dementia, exploring home care, the legal and financial matters, and then we talk about more complex issues as well. The emotional aspects of caregiving, dementia and driving, dementia and sleep, how to have meaningful engagement with individuals living with dementia.
All at once, I'm sure it's coming at people and they're thinking, okay, this is really helpful, and I'm sure it alleviates some stress. From your vantage point, what are the biggest benefits?
Yeah, so there's lots of benefits about learning about dementia. It helps the individual who's living with dementia, it lessens the stigma. It kind of takes a little bit of that burden off of families as well. We're providing as much information as we can to alleviate some of the stress that they're feeling. Dementia is a progressive disorder, so we cover topics from the beginning of the journey all the way through to the end. So no matter where you are in that dementia journey, or maybe you're not even living with dementia and you're just curious about how you can help others, it can really benefit.
And with the fall season approaching, you've got more coming up. What's that look like?
Yeah, so our fall sessions are starting on Saturday, September 13th. We're just talking about the basics. What is dementia, the progression of the disease, some risk factors, protective factors, and treatment options. And then on Tuesday, September 16th, we're talking about kind of dealing with responsive behaviors. So some sundowning, some wandering, and restlessness. And you can register for those on our website.
Perfect. We'll have a link on our website as well. I hope you had a pen for some of those dates. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Ainsley. And we're going to expect some more heat today.
Yeah, a lot more heat, Rochelle. Yeah, I'm not minding it either, especially because we do get these temperatures in the morning that cool down just enough that it's not staying in that heat zone, really. There's a look outside. Another gorgeous start to your morning. You can see the way the buildings are starting to glow as the sun hits them. Nothing obstructing that sun. There's very few clouds out there this morning. And the temperatures, yes, they're pleasant, 9 degrees right now with a northeast wind 4 kilometers per hour. That wind will likely be shifting, but it's still going to stay light throughout the day today. As far as the conditions go, it's going to stay very clear and very sunny throughout pretty much the entire province. The exception might be right along the most northern border with the possibility of a few extra clouds and maybe starting to see some scattered precipitation later today. Most of us, though, will just be soaking up the sunshine. 28 degrees, feeling the heat of it all, too. And I mentioned those winds shifting out of the south but remaining on the lighter side. They might start to increase ever so slightly overnight as our temperature drops from a high 28 down to 14, but that still stays above seasonal. Normal lows would be 7 degrees. Normal daytime highs would be 19 degrees, and we're still above that tomorrow, even though it will be cooler than today. And while we'll have that sunshine to kick off the morning, heavier clouds begin to move in through the midday, and the possibility of some precipitation showers or maybe some thunderstorms through tomorrow afternoon that'll continue overnight and throughout Friday as well. Still a little bit cooler on Friday. I mean, again, above the seasonal 19, but dropping off somewhat, only to see it on the rise again the weekend. Sunshine is back, and that'll take us into next week.
Thank you, Terry. There are new concerns over homeless encampments after a high school student was allegedly chased by a man in a tent in Dakota Forest. The student was on an outing with their high school gym class when things turned violent. According to the Louis Riel School Division, a grade 9 phys ed class from Collège Jean Sauvé was in the Dakota Forest with their teacher Tuesday morning when this all unfolded. Superintendent Christian Michalik says a group of students walked by a tent when a person came out and chased them. They caught up with one student, causing some injuries that did not require medical attention. It's unclear at this point what exactly caused the student's injuries. Police were called and went to the forest to follow up with the person in question. Michalik says students and staff were also advised to avoid the forest, while the school division awaits to hear back from police on next steps. Michalik says the incident highlights the ongoing housing crisis in the city that must be resolved.
And so here we are with a situation that expresses itself in this way, and so there's an immediate response, but that we see playing out. But there's just a much larger societal response that we need to see happen.
CTV News has reached out to the Winnipeg Police Service for more details, but we have not yet heard back. Winnipeg Transit has broken ground on its new bus garage in northwest Winnipeg, and on Tuesday it unveiled the final design. The $200 million garage will be located at Selkirk Avenue and Oak Point Highway. The new garage is replacing Transit's oldest garage on Main Street, which can't accommodate modern buses. This massive new 259,000 square foot facility allows Transit to buy and maintain more than 60-foot articulated buses. It will also have electrical chargers for 24 battery electric buses. The garage will feature bays for maintenance, repairs, and cleaning, administration space, and a bus loop for future routes. Construction is scheduled to be complete in 2027. European leaders are now reacting after a number of Russian drones violated Poland airspace during an aerial attack on Ukraine. Poland's prime minister says 19 Russian drones entered the country's airspace overnight, and 4 of them were shot down. A house was also hit by either a missile or drone, and the Polish armed forces say a search for possible crash sites is ongoing. NATO Secretary General says Russia's violation of Poland's airspace is not an isolated incident, and it shows the need to invest more in defense. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is calling the attack extremely reckless, while French President Emmanuel Macron and Hungary's Prime Minister are both calling the invasion unacceptable. Parks Canada is now warning campers and hikers about wolves spotted in Banff National Park. The warning for 2 Jack Lakeside was issued Monday and will remain in place until further notice. Parks Canada said the wolves have shown bold behavior. It's advising people to use caution when traveling or camping in the area and to carry bear spray. A Davis Cup matchup between Canada and Israel will be played without fans this weekend in Halifax. Tennis Canada says the decision to hold the event in a closed venue was due to escalating safety concerns. It also comes after more than 400 Canadian athletes and academics urged Tennis Canada to cancel the event over Israel's actions in Gaza and the West Bank. Fans who bought tickets will get a full refund. A Florida man's quiet afternoon at home was shattered by this unexpected visitor. So that's a 300-pound wild boar. It smashed through his sliding glass door, startling him. He says it then stood there for about 40 minutes before the police came. From there, it was a bit of a struggle for them, wrangling the boar before they eventually got it under control. Here's a look at what's happening in traffic along the St. James Bridge. It looks like things are moving quite well over here, and it looks like a smooth drive. No issues to tell you about. And let's look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.43. The provincial average is $1.36. In Winnipeg, the average is also $1.36. The lowest price in the city is $1.26. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
This is what it looks like outside. It's a gorgeous start to your Wednesday morning. More news, weather, and traffic on the way after this break.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
There's a look outside, looking gorgeous. Sun bouncing off the buildings, climbing higher in the sky, and it's going to be sending a whole lot of heat our way. Right now, we're already slightly above seasonal. A normal low would be 7 degrees, so 9 is where we're sitting. There is a bit of a breeze, but barely, really. I mean, I don't even know why I called that a bit of a breeze. There's pretty much no wind out there. It's out of the northeast, so there is the slightest breeze, but it's going to stay light even as it shifts out of the south today. The satellite image, nothing to see here. It is clear across the entire province. Everybody will be soaking up that sunshine today, and everybody will be watching the temperatures rise to well above normal values, right up into the high teens or the low 20s throughout the northeastern part of the province. Northwestern Manitoba, again, plenty of sunshine, but even warmer yet, more so up into those mid-20s. And normal daytime highs would be about mid to high teens, around 17 degrees, the average in places like Flin Flon and the Pas, where instead 25 is expected today. 29 could be reached in places like Neepawa, Brandon, or 28 through west central Manitoba. Normal daytime highs here through the south would be 19 degrees. So again, all of us well above what you would expect, with plenty of sunshine, very light winds, and we're still going to notice those light winds overnight with the clear conditions expected. Northwestern Ontario, beautiful and sunny for you as well. Now, tomorrow things may start to change. We'll kick off the day with plenty of sunshine. However, by the afternoon, showers beginning to move in. Showers, maybe some thunderstorms through the afternoon, continuing overnight, and for tomorrow, or pardon me, for Friday as well. With that, we're going to see the temperatures dropping from the high 20s, more so into the low 20s. But look, even our daytime, or pardon me, our overnight lows are closer to seasonal daytime highs than what you would expect. And then we're going to get that sunshine back again, perfectly timed out for the weekend, and with it, really pleasant temperatures that will continue into next week.
Thank you, Terry. All right, let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live with the Alzheimer Society of Manitoba. When families need help, they get it from the society, and there's a conference coming up to support families right now. Good morning.
Good morning. It's called the Care for You Conference. It was a hit last year, and lots of folks are returning once again. Jennifer Liccardo joins us to tell us all about it. October 18th, so get your tickets beforehand. What can people expect from this conference?
Good morning. Thanks, Ainley, for having us. The Care for You Conference is an annual conference for family and friends supporting someone living with dementia. And so you would expect some sessions around caregiving strategies, things that can help them plan for the future and empower them to build their confidence as a care partner.
And as I mentioned, people come back. There's a reason for it, not just the fact that the information is exceptional. It's because this disease is progressive.
That's true, Ainsley. So over the course of the disease, you would expect some changes. And so as they navigate those changes, they want to learn more and new information to help them through those changes. And so we have 8 breakout sessions, a keynote presentation, and to close it off, our keynote speaker, Karen Stobie, will bring everything together and keep the information practical and useful that they can use when they come back supporting the person, their family member or friend.
When it comes to the X's and O's of it, whether you're in the later stages, end of life, or just finding out, there's a lot of specifics. Tell us about a few of them.
So the 8 breakout sessions that we have include supporting someone with daily care. So strategies for supporting them with, if they need assistance with meals, personal care. And then we have sessions on complex legal situations, end-of-life care, which is important to plan as well, medication safety, and more.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like so much, but the way that you're able to package this into a conference and help so many people, it's doing just that. October 18th, the Care for You conference. We'll have a link on our website.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Remember a time when you wanted to watch a movie, you had to head to your local rental store? Well, that never ended for one downtown Toronto business. And as CTV's Jessica Smith reports, they're doing something special with TIFF in town.
Action, adventure, comedy, horror, and more. From small indie films to big-time blockbusters, Bay Street Video has it all.
We've got 40,000 titles to rent at a given point. We just did our inventory, so I know for sure that we're between 10 and 11,000 titles for sale.
A staple in Toronto for 32 years, they have nearly every film from every genre dating anywhere from the late 1800s up to current blockbusters.
This is A New Leaf, which is one of the funniest movies ever made. It's directed by Elaine May, who was one of the first women to break into Hollywood.
We want to make sure that, we're curated by people, for people.
In their ongoing celebration of cinema, every few months, Bay Street Video has a theme and lets you rent 2 movies for free. And in September, the talk of the town is TIFF.
We've done movies shot in Toronto, good best soundtracks, quotable movies, and right now we're doing TIFF world premieres, so films that had their world premiere at TIFF.
Creating a sense of community for both those finding their first favorite flick to the seasoned cinephile.
You come here partly for the experience of knowing that everybody here is sort of simpatico with your movie love and your movie obsession.
Celebrating cinema, Bay Street Video is an archive full of classics and maybe your next favorite film. Jessica Smith, CTV News.
Hello there, Kara Wagland inside the Sports Center newsroom with your messy moment from Tuesday. And for it, we are heading across the pond. Canada taking on Wales in an international friendly. 41st minute off a set piece. Derek Cornelius unleashes a powerful free kick that smashes into the back of the net for the goal. Cornelius, just a beautiful strike for his first goal for his country. Canada would go on to defeat Wales 1-0. Cornelius taking home your must-see moment from Tuesday. And coming up Wednesday on TSN, you can catch some WNBA action when the Dream take on the Sun. Coverage for that one gets underway at 6 p.m. Central Time. That's all for now from Sports Center. Have a great day.
TSN Must-See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years. Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
The sun is shining for us. It's a gorgeous start to your morning. And while we're showing you Winnipeg, it's stunning across the entire province. And the temperatures across the entire province are also going to be pretty pleasant, maybe even getting hot today. So just keep that in mind. Where we are this morning, we'll call it more pleasant. 9 degrees at the moment. A seasonal low would be 7. That's where Pinawa and Sprague are sitting. But just below that, we've got Gimli and Dauphin coming in at 6 degrees. I promise you, you will feel those temperatures on the the rise as well. Other places are already in the double digits this morning, right up into parts of the northwest. Northeastern Manitoba, a little bit cooler, but you will be up into those high teens and low 20s today as well. Plenty of sunshine, and that's expected right across the entire province today. When we're sending kids off to school next hour, we'll probably have bumped up a couple degrees to 11, and by the time they're coming home again, a much hotter 27. The winds will be shifting out of the north this morning. They'll be out of the south for later today. And I mentioned from 27 we could get hotter yet. 28 is our expected high for today. 19 normal for this time of year. Slightly cooler for tomorrow and Friday with showers tomorrow afternoon. That'll take us through Friday, but then the weekend is looking sunny and warm, and it's going to continue throughout next week.
Thank you, Terry. Whether you go to watch comedy or live music, the Park Theatre has been a hot spot for all kinds of entertainment for 2 decades. The theatre in South Osborne is celebrating its 20th anniversary with a huge lineup this month. Joining us now to tell us more about the history of the theatre, where it's been, and what's coming is Corey Thomas. Good morning, Corey.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining us. Now, how long have you been with Park Theatre?
Well, I've been a promoter myself for just over 20 years. I was doing shows there as an independent promoter for about 8 years before I joined there full-time in 2018.
Wow, so it really has sparked something in your heart.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was a banker for 20 years and a promoter on the side, and doing shows at the Osborne Village Inn when it was around, and then slowly at the park when it opened. And then my shows got bigger as the years went, and Eric, who owns the parks, was always telling me to come work for him and leave the banking industry. And it took a few years for him to wear me down, and now I'm living the dream, get to do it for a living.
Well, that is amazing. So tell us the history of the Park Theatre, how it started 20 years ago.
Well, 20 years ago, Eric purchased the place. The building itself is over 100 years old. And it's been everything. It's had a billion businesses in there. It was a theater for a long time, where it showed movies a long time ago. And it was actually, when Eric first opened it, it was a video store / cafe where you could rent movies and video games. And it slowly morphed from that into a music venue as we peppered in shows for bands here and there. And then it pivoted from being a cafe video rental store into what it is now, where it's a full-time venue event center.
What an incredible history. In those 20 years, so many acts, comedy shows, live music have filled the theater. Tell us about some of the highlights and bands you've seen over there over the last 2 decades.
Oh my goodness, it blows my mind all the time. Like the bands that we have through there, because some bands even who are much bigger than our room will come play it just because they want to play in the room. It's a special room. Like we've been fortunate enough to have, like I've had Propaganda in there many times. They're local hometown heroes that are much bigger than our room, so they end up playing usually 3 nights in a row when we have them.
That is fascinating.
They sell it out in 5 minutes every time, but we're so lucky that they keep playing our room when they should be in a bigger room than ours, but they keep coming back, giving us 3 nights in a row each time.
And is that what makes the theater special? It's big, but it's not too big. It's sort of small, but it's not too small. What makes it special?
Yeah, we're 550 cap. So a lot of these bands that play our room, they need an 800 cap, 1,000 cap room. So instead, they'll just do 2 nights with us instead of 1 night at, say, the Burt or a different room. But it's something about our rooms. A lot of these bands have grown up with us over the last 20 years too, where we'd give them their first shot and they were playing for, like, for example, a band like the Bluestones, who are pretty big now.
Yeah.
Bluestones, I remember booking them in our room 6 years ago for 50 people. And now they do 2 nights in our room, and they'll sell it out.
And you're doing a lot to celebrate your 20th anniversary. We're almost out of time. Quickly tell us a few of the things that are going on.
Oh, we try to get a bunch of bands that have played our room a gazillion times over the years, but it's hard to get them all. But to start off, we have our SOS Festival this weekend. We have a legendary band called Cro-Mags playing on Friday. And we have another legendary Canadian band called Razor on Saturday. We have JP Ho this month. We have the Mad Caddies for 2 days. We have Comeback Kid, which is also sold out on the 15th.
Wow, very exciting. And of course, if you want more details on part of the celebrations and what else is happening at the Park Theatre, we have a link on our website. Thank you, Corey, and happy birthday to the Park Theatre.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming up, we're going to learn more about the Alzheimer Society of Manitoba and what they're doing this month to honor World Alzheimer's Month. Stay with us. It's time for Let's Celebrate. Let's see who's having a celebration today. Happy 14th birthday to Katie. Love all your family and friends. Happy 5th birthday to William with love from Mom, Dad, Lily, and Luna. Happy 15th birthday to Maximus. Enjoy your day. Love Mom, Dad, and the fur babies Sparky, Nugget, and Ollie. And a happy 92nd birthday to Bill with lots of love from your girls in Ontario. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, let's celebrate. To submit your celebration, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's Celebrate, brought to you by Party Stuff, 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca.
Manitoba, it's 8 o'clock on your Wednesday. Thank you so much for being with us. A little later in this hour at about 8:15, we're going to get some reaction to the province's announcement yesterday where they're going to see some police officers patrolling 24/7 at HSC. We're going to hear from the Manitoba Nurses Union and get some reaction to that announcement. But first, your headlines. Manitoba family shaken again after accused driver arrested for breaching bail. Plus, Lisbon tram tragedy. Ottawa widow says husband confirmed as 3rd Canadian victim. And history maker Derek Cornelius scores first goal for Canada to beat Wales. Bringing in Terry now, it's going to be another gorgeous, feels like summer type of day.
Yeah, feels like summer for sure. It's going to be hot and well above seasonal and plenty of sunshine expected throughout the day and throughout the entire province. Here's a look over Winnipeg right now, and you can see not a cloud in the sky, nothing but blue sky above, and that'll be the case for most places. It's 9 degrees right now. That'll bump up now that we're into the 8 o'clock hour, but the winds remaining very light. However, they will likely be shifting later on today. Northeast wind almost non-existent, but as I mentioned, a shift to the south for later this afternoon. The satellite image shows pretty much what we were looking at outside. Not a cloud to be spotted out there, and there pretty much won't be through the day today. Maybe in the far northern part of the province, you'll see just a few clouds, and then into the afternoon, just along that most northern border, the possibility of some precipitation developing. So that'll be throughout the day today. Staying clear, though, overnight. Tomorrow, still waking up to sunshine. Here's a look tomorrow morning, and we're starting to see some of that precipitation moving through the northeast and a little bit further south. But while we'll start out with the sunshine, it might not last. We will, by the afternoon, likely see some showers or maybe some thunderstorms rolling through. That'll take us through the afternoon, overnight, and into Friday. Things looking a little bit soggier. Still staying above seasonal, but not quite as hot as today, because today we'll really feel those temps skyrocketing to 28 degrees when 19 is normal for this time of year. Dropping ever so slightly as the precipitation rolls through, only to see the sunshine back again and those temperatures rebounding this weekend. And our art today, well, I sure wish I had something to show you, and maybe I will tomorrow if somebody sends me a picture. Draw color paint, let me know what you're working on, take a picture of it, and email us to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. A family in mourning says it's been shaken once again. The man accused in a deadly crash that claimed their daughter earlier this year has allegedly breached his bail conditions.
This justice system needs change.
It's been a roller coaster of emotions for Michelle Best and her family. Her daughter, Kelly Verwey, died in a 3-vehicle crash in January. 25-year-old James Hilton, the man accused, was charged with impaired driving. Now he's accused of breaching his bail conditions. His release order required him to live at a treatment center, but Best says she learned he walked away. Hilton was arrested Tuesday afternoon without incident. Family members then met with the Justice Minister.
Their frustration is the same kind of frustration that we've had, that the Premier expressed, along with the First Ministers across the country.
Beth says she can't see any changes being made. RCMP say Hilton is being held in custody in Winnipeg. None of the charges against him have been tested in court. It is now confirmed that a third Canadian has died following that deadly tram crash in Lisbon last week. We're now hearing from the wife of an Ottawa man who was killed in that incident. She was also injured and spoke to CTV News from a Lisbon hospital.
Very, very fast, like going in a highway, and everyone was screaming. It was very scary. It crashed. I didn't see him. I called him. I was calling aunties, and he didn't answer.
Not wanting to appear on camera because of the extent of her injuries, Hind Igernan says it took days for her to learn her husband, Aziz Ben Harif, was among the dead. His family back home was also trying to help. The family says Canadian officials could have done more. Global Affairs Canada says consular assistance is being provided to the families of the victims. Derek Cornelius, take a bow.
Former Marseille man on loan at Rangers.
The Canadian defender scored his first goal for country, the game winner as Canada beat Wales 1-0 in a friendly. The victory marks two firsts, Canada's first ever back-to-back wins over European teams on European soil, and the first time with 3 straight wins against Europe. Canada beat Romania on Friday and Ukraine this summer at BMO Field in Toronto. Next up, 2 more big tests in the international window, Australia in Montreal and Colombia in New Jersey, as Canada builds toward FIFA 2026. Scientists have developed a superfood for bees. The team at Oxford designed a compound that mimics those found in pollen. They call it a complete superfood, which could significantly enhance colony reproduction. Growing the world's bee population is key to supporting global food security. This compound goes to field testing next. And here's a look at what's happening on Donald Street. Things are moving well here, but we do have a current traffic situation to tell you about. Lights are flashing red in all directions at Gary Street and Graham Avenue. Treat it as an all-way stop before entering the intersection. If you have any other traffic tips to share with us, please let us know at our X page. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at the Alzheimer Society of Manitoba. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. It's Alzheimer's Awareness Month this September. Nicole McDonald joins us now to talk about some dementia-friendly communities and ways that the Society is making our community better through Minds in Motion. So tell us about some of these programs.
Yeah, so Minds in Motion is a recreational program for people living with mild to moderate stages of dementia, as well as a care partner. We attend and we participate in gentle chair fitness, coffee conversation, and then a variety of games.
I've been seeing on our show, even through the news items, some of the studies supporting physical movement and dementia. Tell us about the conversations here.
Yeah, we know physical activity is important. The same as socialization, right? We want to get out, we want to move our bodies, we want to challenge our minds in different ways. And Minds in Motion and our community partner programs are a great way to do that. We're getting out and we're participating in activities at an appropriate level, but in ways that are hobby-based or recreational, that kind of just get us moving, chatting, and enjoying in a safe and supportive atmosphere.
You've got a memory cafe coming up in Selkirk. What is a memory cafe?
So memory cafes are quite big and up and coming, but again, it's just a dementia-friendly space. So it is accessible to people living with mild to moderate stages of dementia. We welcome a care partner to attend this program as well, and it's more of a creative outlet. So within the first hour of programming, you're meeting with people who are going through a similar lived experience, playing games and having some coffee. And then in the second half of program, we bring in kind of a creative outlet. So it might be an author, a musician, other individuals, artists, who might come and participate in the program. So that currently happens in Selkirk at the Gordon Howard Center every second Tuesday, and we just started this past Tuesday, September 9th.
We're almost at a time, but this is a good opportunity on the other side for businesses to say, hey, we're dementia friendly.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to be sensory friendly, dementia friendly, if you want to understand what that looks like more, it's making small accessible changes for people living with dementia, and they're free changes. Reach out to us and let's talk about it.
Thank you so much. And that goes for the people at home watching who are caregivers. There's thousands of you in this province. For more, head to a link on our website.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. There have been studies looking at the effects of cannabis on young brains and separate studies looking at the effects of alcohol. But now there's a new study looking at the impact of the two together on young people with legal access to both. CTV's Pauline Chan has the details.
Studies looking at alcohol use with marijuana have been done before, but mostly in the U.S. when cannabis was illegal. But the study by Jeffrey Wardell looks at Canada after marijuana was legalized.
We were going to do it in a legal environment to see, what did this look like? What does this look like now that young people can access it?
Recent figures show 50% of Canadians aged 19 to 25 use marijuana to some degree, and Wardell's study focused on the motivations behind using pot and alcohol, particularly together.
And we know that when you use two drugs together, they can have interactions. And so we were interested in understanding that.
In a new technique, the 150 participants used an app during 3 periods over the course of a year to accurately record when and how they used the two substances. They found that young people tended to use both substances during times of stress or negative emotions.
The reason they give is because it gives them a more intense high. They're trying to really avoid those emotions, and combining the two drugs produces more intense subjective effects.
But in doing that, Wardell says there was also a higher risk of other health dangers.
A greater risk for dependence or substance use disorder developing over time if you combine drugs, as well as other mental health outcomes. So being at greater risk for worsening depression, worsening anxiety.
Wardell has advice at a time when young people are beginning the college term or undergoing other stressful new situations.
Just be mindful that this isn't probably a good strategy, that even though maybe in the immediate term using cannabis and alcohol or combining the two especially might make you feel better.
He says employ good judgment in your substance use and seek other ways like exercise or talking to others to alleviate stress. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Yeah, I will always say, if you're feeling stressed, get outside and go for a walk. What a great day for it as we look now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Look, it's Bud the Bud that's back. Bud the Bug. Anyway, 11 degrees, that's where we're sitting right now, so that's up a couple from last hour. Now that that sun is up, it's going to throw a whole lot of heat our way, and we're going to notice these double-digit gains, or even more so at times throughout the day today. And everybody is making those gains right now. You were at 7 degrees last hour in Sprague. Pinawa now at 9. Gimli and Dauphin were sitting at 6 degrees. Those are big jumps for you. 3 degrees gained in the Gimli area. Double digits all through most of southern Manitoba, and right up along that western border, you're feeling it as well, and even making some improvements here in the northeast, where eventually high teens and low 20s will be reached. Beautiful sunny conditions are right across the province. We're all going to be enjoying the look and warmth of the sun. Here in Winnipeg today, 11 degrees now as we're sending kids off to school, but by the time they're coming home again, 27 degrees. It's going to be warm, getting even hot, in fact, this afternoon. With those winds that have started to shift now out of the south, they'll stay on the lighter side today. 28 is our expected high temperature for today, and clear conditions overnight means sunshine for tomorrow morning, but by tomorrow afternoon, the possibility of a few extra clouds and some precipitation, showers, maybe thunderstorms continuing overnight and through Friday. So a little bit soggy by the end of the week, a little bit cooler, but still above the seasonal 19 degrees. And then the sunshine back for the weekend with the mercury on the rise, and from there mid-20s expected into the start of next week. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Good morning, it's 8:14. A fall may be around the corner, but the BC government warns fire season is still very much here. More than 100 fires are burning across that province, and officials are urging people to stay vigilant. CTV's Dimitra Maragos reports.
Fires continue to burn throughout the province. As of Monday afternoon, there were more than 140 wildfires active around the province, 34% of which are considered out of control, meaning
they have the potential to spread further.
And things aren't slowing down.
Since the long weekend, we've seen a large uptick in wildfires.
With some routes still impacted as a result of the wildfires, and over 1,000 BC residents affected by evacuation orders and evacuation alerts. Minister Parmar says this should be expected.
With recent above seasonal temperatures and continued lightning throughout the province, we still have more work to do. This is the new normal, longer and more intense wildfire seasons.
Environment Canada issuing a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of southern British Columbia.
It did spread some rain, and some areas got locally 10 to 15 millimeters of rain.
However, Loney saying the rain simply wasn't enough and poses new issues.
If we have instances of dry lightning where not enough rain is falling at the same time as when the thunder shower is moving through, then you might see more fire starts.
Minister Parmar also highlighted the importance of not flying drones where there's an active wildfire, saying last week a civilian's drone actually hit a plane, causing it to be grounded. The fine for this could be up to $100,000. Dimitri Marigo, CTV News, Vancouver.
Police officers could soon be stationed around the clock at Manitoba's largest hospital. Nurses and doctors and Health Sciences Centre have been raising safety concerns for months. The NDP government is staffing 2 uniformed Winnipeg police officers inside HSC 24/7 at a cost of $1.5 or $1.6 million a year. Joining us now from the Manitoba Nurses Union is Darlene Jackson. Good morning, Darlene.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Now, this move comes after many incidents of violence in and around the hospital, from attacks to sexual assaults. Tell us about the situation nurses and doctors face at HSC.
Well, we are still seeing a lot of violence in and around the Health Sciences Centre, and as a result of the violence, nurses at HSC have gray listed that facility. And, what's reported to me is that even since the gray listing, violence has continued. There is very little relief at this point. So I was extremely happy to hear this announcement, but as details come out, I feel less reassured that this is what we need to do at this facility.
Why is that?
Originally, it was 2 police officers that were going to be posted in the ER. Yesterday, the chief of police from Winnipeg Police talked about the fact that they're willing to work with the government, but it became very clear that there's no real plan in place, and the stakeholders really haven't been involved up to this point. And then this morning in the Free Press, we read that these officers are going to be taking custody of individuals brought in by the Winnipeg Police Service. And the problem with that is, once a police officer takes custody of someone, that's their primary responsibility. So then the question is, are they going to be free to be able to deal with other issues in the ER? So details have been sketchy. There doesn't seem to be a real plan in place, and it makes me worry that this is an announcement for the sake of an announcement.
Well, obviously there's going to have to be some meetings between both organizations, the Winnipeg Police as well as the province. Once those meetings occur and there is a plan, are you feeling better about the fact that you're being heard?
Well, yes, and I believe that this move and this announcement by the government is a direct result of nurses at HSC grey listing. I believe it's something we've been advocating for well before the grey listing. We've been advocating to have police in the emergency department until we can bring the ISO, the Institutional Safety Officer, numbers and resources up to where they need to be. So it's something that we've been advocating for, and I really hope that it rolls out so that we are providing a very safe atmosphere at HSC.
Besides these 2 police officers that are being promised by the province, what else would you like to see added at HSC?
Well, we know that the institutional safety officer numbers are not adequate at this point. We know there's many vacant shifts for ISOs. So I would really like to see a full complement of ISOs, and perhaps a review of, is that number adequate? Do we need to add to that? Because I'm all for having police in our ER, but I don't want to be taking them away from where they need to be on the street if we can do something different. So I think that there's once the details become clearer, we'll have a better idea of exactly what the plan is and how this is going to roll out.
Okay, Darlene, thanks for your time today and your perspective.
Thank you.
All right, out on the rooftop, how's it feeling out there, Terry?
It's feeling good, mostly, Rochelle. It's smelling good. If you know, you know. And by that, I mean, if you were watching at about 6:10 this morning, I came out here, there was a northeast wind, and that's important. It's the east part of that. And I always complain about the aroma that downtown takes on with that shift of winds. But it's gorgeous out here now. The winds have shifted back out of the south. Temperatures are starting to rise now. It's 11 degrees and plenty of sunshine. Winds, they're light, but they are out of the south. That makes a huge difference. Just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 95%. So the big smile on my face because it's only going to get better throughout the day today. The blue sky, I cannot see a single cloud out here this morning, and that's pretty much going to be the case throughout the entire province today. Everybody, beautiful sunny conditions and temperatures on the rise, well above what you would expect this time of year, which is kind of a nice contrast to the cool temps that we had last week, especially knowing that we are into the ending days of summer. But it's certainly not going to feel like it today, with the mercury up into the high 20s all across southern Manitoba and even low 20s to mid 20s across northern Manitoba for today. It will start to cool down ever so slightly tomorrow and Thursday, and expect some shower activity by tomorrow afternoon. Oh, our weather picture today, a pretty stunning capture or photograph taken by Paul out in the Riding Mountain National Park area. Thank you for sharing this. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
A woman who recently lost her 80-year-old father got an unexpected message of condolence from Quebec's Automobile Insurance Society, stating that she was dead. And as CTV's Denise Roberts reports, she's finding out the hard way that correcting the error isn't easy.
Since her father Vasilios died on July 12th, Urania Daskalopoulos says she's been drowning in paperwork. As an only child, she was his caregiver over the last 5 years and in charge of his estate. So she was surprised when she received this letter from the SAAQ last week.
I looked at the envelope, I thought, Succession de Urania Daskalopoulos. I thought, like, no, wait a minute, what's going on? There must be a mistake. So I immediately opened it and then read the letter, and I was like, oh my gosh.
The letter offered condolences and instructions on transferring ownership of her vehicles. When she called the SAAQ, she found out her license had been canceled, creating a domino effect for her health card, passport, and even her file with Revenue Canada and Quebec.
The agent I spoke to on the telephone highly recommended that I contact 7 different agencies from Quebec.
She found out the error occurred when the funeral home mistakenly put her driver's license number on her father's declaration of death form.
I did, in fact, rely on someone, on the service of the funeral home. I paid for the service for them to file, and perhaps I should have double-checked, but I really was not in any frame of mind to do so.
The SAAQ confirmed the funeral home's error to CTV and says this was an exceptional situation, one they have now fixed. Daskalopoulos didn't want to name the funeral home and is considering possible legal action. She says this one mistake could haunt her for the rest of her life.
I could go on vacation, enter into Canada. They could say, wait a minute, you don't have a passport. This person died in July of 2025.
She says it has added to what was already a difficult time.
I have a mountain of paperwork to do, and now this. It's like, somebody just help me so that I can move on and have time to grieve.
Instead, she's trying to prove she's alive. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Good morning. It's a growing concern for a number of young teenagers, online gambling, and it's prompting calls for stronger regulations. As CTV's Pauline Chen reports, legalized online gambling has turned any smartphone into a betting platform for anyone.
About 18 months after single-event sports betting was legalized across Canada in August 2021, Dr. Sean Kelly says he began seeing adolescents, mainly boys, coming in with online gambling-related problems.
It tends to be at the lower end, 12 to 13, all the way up to their young 20s.
But the thing that really drove home how influential online gambling ads are was an incident with one of his own kids.
asked me what the difference between plus minus and an over-under was. And that was, hearing that from a 7-year-old made me become keenly aware of who was being affected by these advertisements.
And while there are restrictions on who can participate in online betting,
just like all adult-oriented online content, keeping youth away from it has yet to be effective in certain spaces.
Dr. Kelly says the harms tend to be mostly financial, but also things like substance use, anxiety, and depression can result.
I'm very concerned that suicidal behavior may seem like a reasonable solution to a financial problem that they have caused for themselves and their families.
The Canadian Medical Association Journal says we can't wait for a rash of severe results like teen suicides before acting on the problem of teen online gambling. And they're supporting a new bill to create a framework of stronger restrictions.
A number of advertisements per segment, number of advertisements per broadcast, there's a whole bunch of different ways that this could be measured and addressed.
Bill 211 passed its second reading in the Senate in June, but the CMAJ says it's just a first step. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
You can get calendars with pictures of musicians, movies, and sports heroes, and now you'll be able to get one with a well-known red helicopter, the Stars Air Ambulance.
You'll agree the photography is outstanding, and it really helps tell our story of innovation, resilience, and community.
Stars is releasing a 2026 calendar. Inside, you'll find pictures of 3 Stars Air Ambulance helicopters. There's 5 months with Stars crew members, and you'll also find 3 months featuring 3 VIPs or very important patients who experience Stars life-saving efforts.
Without Stars flying in to get him in challenging circumstances and the fight to keep him alive, to get back, we wouldn't be here. Like our life as we knew it would have been completely decimated. So to be able to be here and help fundraise and help bring awareness is just something we can do to give back to what we needed.
The 2026 Stars calendar is now available to purchase, with all proceeds going to Stars. For details, go to starscalendar.ca.
It's 11 degrees outside right now. Beautiful sunny start to your day and barely a breeze. A south wind now that's only 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 95%. That sunshine, everybody gets to enjoy it today throughout the entire province. Barely a cloud to be spotted, and you can see, looking at the satellite image, how little there is to see, and that's just because it's so gorgeous and clear. That sunshine will take us well above seasonal, with the temperatures climbing to a high of 28 degrees. The winds, they've shifted now out of the south, but to about 10 kilometers per hour, so really barely a breeze today. Maybe a slight more of a wind in the overnight hours, up to 15 clicks expected, but still mostly clear conditions. And the temperature falling to 14, but 7 degrees would be a normal low temperature, 19 a normal daytime high. So we're actually closer to those highs in the overnight hours than the lows. But tomorrow will be a little bit cooler, at least than today. Not cooler than seasonal, 24. And the possibility of some showers into the afternoon, but with those clear conditions overnight, we'll still kick off the morning with some sunshine. Then the clouds build up, and that possibility of showers or maybe thunderstorms through the afternoon. That'll then continue overnight and into Friday. So we will finish off the work week with some soggier conditions and some slightly cooler temperatures, but really just slightly cooler. By the time the weekend rolls around, the sunshine back again. Temperatures will be on the rise, and there we're going to stay into the mid-20s as we look ahead into next week.
Thanks, Terry. People in Winnipeg's Crestview neighborhood are speaking out. They're worried about what they're finding in Ridley Park, from garbage and beds to dozens of needles.
Safety. Safety for the neighborhood, safety for everybody. Everybody in the neighborhood this way walks through it at some point during the day.
For 35 years, Terry Schofield has lived near Ridley Park. He says in recent years, it's become increasingly unsafe. The problem, people moving into the park, leaving behind garbage and needles. These photos taken August 7th and September 8th show what he's found. Schofield says he also sees people sleeping in the park at night. City Councillor Sean Dobson says he's heard concerns about Ridley Park before.
I'm kind of upset that this is going on, and the amount of needles. So my thoughts are that I'm going to have to get Public Works down here to do a thorough inspection a little more often.
By Tuesday afternoon, city crews cleared the garbage. Dobson says a new motion passed Monday banning encampments near schools and playgrounds could help. The city of Winnipeg has a proactive cleanup program, although Ridley Park wasn't a part of it. A spokesperson for the city tells us city crews have picked up a total of 3,800 needles between April and June of this year. There are calls to cancel a Harry Potter-themed attraction coming to Vancouver.
Listen, I feel it's really regrettable that we are allowing one of the world's most high-profile transphobes to actually make money in the city of Vancouver.
Harry Potter, a Forbidden Forest experience, is due to open in November in Stanley Park. People who want it cancelled are pointing to J.K. Rowling's views on transgender rights. At least 2 city councillors have joined in, saying those views are at odds with Vancouver's commitment to inclusion. The decision to cancel is up to Vancouver's Park Board. Reaction this morning after a number of Russian drones violated Poland airspace during an attack on Ukraine.
Allies expressed solidarity with Poland and denounced Russia's reckless behavior. A full assessment of the incident is ongoing. What is clear is that the violation last night is not an isolated incident.
The head of NATO, Mark Rutte, says the situation will continue to be closely monitored. He adds the attack by Russia only reinforces the importance of NATO and the need to invest more in defense. Poland describes the incident as an act of aggression that was carried out during a wave of Russian strikes on neighboring Ukraine. Poland's prime minister says 19 Russian drones entered the country's airspace overnight, and 4 of them were shot down. Apple's new AirPods Pro can be a live translator.
I'd love to take some of these to my sister for her birthday. I'll buy 8, please.
Here's how it works. The user can speak into their AirPods, and the translation will show up on the phone. The earbuds can also translate what someone is saying into a user's preferred language. Apple introduced the AirPods Pro 3 at its fall event, also introduced the super slim iPhone Air. Now to One Group of Friends solution to the girls' trip and how to split expenses. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis has the story.
My girlfriends and I are currently on holiday.
Kim Brindell and her 5 best friends have known each other for over 20 years. From weekend getaways to unforgettable adventures, the group shares a love of travel that's only deepened their bond over the years. But like with any group trip, the hassle of splitting expenses became a consistent burden. That was until one of them had a better idea at the end of a trip 3 years ago.
We were frantically trying to work out who owed who what and calculate everything to be able to square up at the end of the holiday. And one of the friends said, oh, this would be so much easier if we had a shared bank account. And at first we all just laughed it off. And then we were like, wait, that's actually kind of genius. And we'd actually opened it by the end of breakfast.
Each woman contributes $20 a week to the shared account to be used for any and all travel expenses, including airfare, lodging, and dining. And if someone can't come or participate in certain activities, the group has a way to handle it.
There's been a time when one of the friends has been pregnant, which meant she didn't drink on the trip. And so we just all individually buy our drinks. We've actually had one of the friends not be able to come after we'd booked. However, she didn't expect any money back, but the rest of us friends thought we could probably calculate how much she'd actually put in that would have contributed. We just thought, well, the right thing to do would be to refund her, because I think we've very much taken the approach that it all comes out in the wash, or it all comes back to you eventually as well.
Kim says taking the stress out of budgeting and splitting costs has made their friendship even stronger.
Instead of thinking about cost being a barrier to splurge on that extra glass of wine, you just do it and you don't have to think about it. So it's made our trips actually so much more fun, and we've been able to connect so much more freely, not having to worry about money at all.
Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News, New York.
What a great idea. Here's a look at what's happening in traffic on Notre Dame Avenue. It looks like a smooth drive over here so far, and a gorgeous start to your Wednesday morning. If you have any traffic problems, please let us know. And let's look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.43. The provincial average is $1.36. In Winnipeg, the average is also $1.36. The lowest price in Winnipeg, $1.26. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by KidneyCard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
It's World Alzheimer's Month, and if you're looking for resources and places to turn to for help, if you've just had a new diagnosis in your family or you're struggling, the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba is the place to contact. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning, Rochelle. These resources are available province-wide, and Jessica Harper is going to tell us all about First Link. It's about that first conversation. Tell us about First Link and what it all encompasses.
So our First Link program is a program to provide one-to-one support. So whether that's information, education, about really and truly any and all things related to dementia. So we navigate conversations about what is dementia, what are the signs and symptoms, how to go about navigating, how to go about getting a diagnosis. Once a diagnosis has been received, what is dementia, what does the progression of the disease look like, talking about caregiver tips, strategies, resources and supports available, the importance of future planning, really any and all the things. So we really want to encourage individuals and families that are navigating memory loss, navigating a dementia diagnosis to reach out. We're here for you. We're here to help provide that community of support.
The disease is progressive, and the disease can feel quite isolating for the people going through it, but also their caregivers. Tell us about the support groups available.
Yeah, so we have an abundance of different support groups available province-wide. So we have in-person options, virtual options, to really make sure there's a group for everyone. So regardless of where you live, regardless of your schedule, we'll hopefully have options for everyone. So we have general groups for caregivers, so whether you're an adult child, you're a spouse, you're a friend, a family member, you're a person living with dementia, there is a group for you. Our general groups run concurrently throughout the year, and then we have specialized groups that also take place throughout the year. So this fall, we'll have our ambiguous loss and bereavement groups starting, which is really exciting. They run for 8 weeks at a time, so we're just opening registration for any individuals that think that those groups might be a good fit. Please reach out and ask for some information.
We're almost out of time, but a message from the participants, maybe on behalf of them. Are they grateful to have this? I'm sure they are.
100%. We're that community of support, like I said, so all the participants are so welcoming, encouraging to new caregivers, new families navigating the journey, that this is the place for you. We're that warm, welcoming space for you to access support, information, and feel like you're not alone in navigating the journey.
Thank you so much. With World Alzheimer's Month, wear purple or a purple ribbon. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It's going to be a gorgeous day today, Terry.
It already is, Rochelle. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. Yesterday evening was so pleasant, and if you like those warmer temperatures, that's exactly what's on tap for us today. Where we begin right now, though, it's not hot. So if you like the cooler temperatures, get outside right now. It's just 11 degrees with a slight breeze. It's out of the south, 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising with the humidity sitting at 95% and blue sky above. No matter where you are, we'll get to enjoy the sunshine today. Across the entire province, things will remain very clear through the day. Overnight, still clear, and tomorrow, more sunshine to kick off the day. Things will start to change, though, by tomorrow afternoon, so just keep that in mind. Soak up the sunshine while it lasts throughout the day today. Today will come with some hot temperatures, headed up into the high 20s all across southern Manitoba and low to mid 20s across northern Manitoba. I mentioned the changing conditions tomorrow. While we may start the day with sunshine, clouds will build up and the possibility of some precipitation showers, maybe thunderstorms through the afternoon. That'll continue overnight and into Friday. Temperatures will settle down ever so slightly. We're talking more low 20s for tomorrow and Friday to finish off the work week with those showers. But for the weekend, perfectly timed out. Sunshine is back and the mercury will be soaring once again. Taking a break right now, but we too will be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Good morning. Winnipeg Transit has broken ground on its new bus garage in northwest Winnipeg, and on Tuesday it unveiled the final design. The $200 million garage will be located at Selkirk Avenue and Oak Point Highway. The new garage is replacing Transit's oldest garage on Main Street, which can't accommodate modern buses. This massive new 259,000 square foot facility allows Transit to buy and maintain more 60-foot articulated buses. It will also have electrical chargers for 24 battery electric buses. The garage will feature bays for maintenance, repairs, and cleaning, administration space, airspace and a bus loop for future routes. Construction is scheduled to be complete in 2027. An inspiring film about a gay rights activist is about to make its Manitoba premiere. It's the story of Delwyn Vareed, who was fired from his job as an Alberta teacher.
The King's College was very clear that the reason they were firing me was because I was gay.
Pride versus Prejudice, the Delwyn Vareed story, documents one man's fight against discrimination, resulting in a Supreme Court of Canada decision in 1998 recognizing sexual orientation as a protected human right. It's showing in Winnipeg as part of Real Pride's 40th International Film Festival. The premiere takes place at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights on September 21st, followed by a panel discussion with the director. Doors open at 1:30. Tickets are available through the Human Rights Museum's website. An Ontario man was shocked the odometer on his pickup truck was rolled back more than 40,000 kilometers. CTV's Pat Foran reports.
What did you first think when they said the odometer might be rolled back?
Well, I was completely surprised and taken back by it.
Gabriel Graziano of Woodbridge purchased a 2019 Ford F-150 2 years ago. At the time, he checked the Carfax report, and it showed no issues with the mileage. But he just went to trade in the truck to buy another vehicle, and now the Carfax report states potential odometer rollback.
Obviously, it's going to affect my resale value and my trade-in value, which it did.
The truck currently has 153,000 kilometers on the odometer, but now it appears the actual mileage is closer to 200,000. Graziano believes the odometer was rolled back by about 44,000 kilometers. He went back to the dealership where he bought the truck, seeking compensation for the added mileage.
I was not given the proper information when I purchased the vehicle. I want them to take the truck back.
Carfax Canada told CTV News the odometer records in question were not available to Carfax Canada when the individual purchased the vehicle and therefore not displayed on the vehicle history report. However, after further investigation, we believe there is a strong possibility this vehicle's odometer has been rolled back. We did a story with Dennis Estevez, who purchased a truck with 184,000 kilometers, but the odometer had been rolled back from 320,000.
Clearly, it was rolled back. And it needed a lot of work.
Criminals can use tools to change odometer readings. The Ontario Motor Vehicle Industry Council, OMVIC, recommends you get a Carfax report, a used vehicle information package, and take a vehicle to a mechanic for an inspection. After CTV News reached out to the dealer where Graziano bought his truck, it agreed to compensate him for the rolled back odometer, which was great news for him. Pat Foran, CTV News.
We're back at Canadian Footwear. I'm joined by Brian Sharfstein again. Brian, why should people come and see you? I mean, there's shoe stores anywhere, but what sets you apart?
The experience, the education. There are a number of things that we do that nobody else does. So you can come and we will listen and we will assess your situation, and we don't have a time limit, and we will work with you to find the right shoes that addresses your lifestyle and your daily activities. Whether you have a foot problem or you don't, we can find and help you find the right shoes. And then we know that left and right feet are not the same. We know that feet are changing as we go through time, and we understand all that. So part of our job is not just to fit you, but to educate you, to make sure that when you leave, you are confident. We know that people trust what we do, so we want to share that trust.
I love that, because knowledge is power, and then people can, feel a little bit better knowing what is happening with their feet and with their body, and, why things are changing and how to, find the right shoe. As you say, we fit you. We fit you. And you've been doing it for, 90 years? You've got a long history of fitting shoes.
Yes. Family bought it in 1932 from someone who had come from Ireland, and we are the third generation. And the exciting news right now, 2025, 2026, the next generation is in. And so we will be opening a new location in the southwest part of Winnipeg on Caniston with the opportunity to move forward, to provide this experience in a much better and bigger way than we ever have. So stay tuned.
All right, that is exciting news. Now, I will mention that these stores are still going to be here. You're still going to be able to find them here in the Exchange where we are.
I'm still part of it. I'm not going anywhere. Pam and I will continue over the next few years to stay here to make sure that this family business that has served this community continues in what people expect.
All right, well, that is very exciting news. Can't wait to catch up once it all happens. But yeah, you heard it here first. Thanks for choosing us to share that news with.
Thank you.
All right, it is a beautiful start to your Wednesday morning. Nothing but sunshine and pleasant temperatures. It is going to get hot, so if you don't like the heat, get outside this morning and soak this all up. 11 degrees right now with south winds 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 95%. It is clear out there, not a cloud in the sky. Nothing to see here on the satellite image. Around the province, we'll all be just enjoying the beautiful sunny day, at least for another day, because things will start to change for tomorrow. So soak this all up while we've got it. Sunshine, high teens and low 20s in the northeast. Northwestern Manitoba, maybe even a couple degrees warmer. We're talking low to mid 20s. These values are well above seasonal, including here in southern Manitoba, where for example, 19 degrees would be that normal daytime high. You'll likely be about 10 above it in places like Neepawa, Brandon, up to 29 degrees, 28 through west central Manitoba, which is where Winnipeg is expected to be. Mid to high 20s here through the southeast. Further east of us, northwestern Ontario, just a couple degrees cooler, but every bit as sunny. And that sunshine will be back again for tomorrow morning after clear conditions overnight. But by tomorrow afternoon, that's when things change. Chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms continuing overnight and into Friday. You'll notice the drop in the temperatures just ever so slightly, but with the sunshine returning for the weekend, mercury on the rise again, and from there those mid-20 temperatures carry us right through the start of next week. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center.
Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
We're going to send you on your way, but first we're going to send you off with some fun video. We're sure you've all heard of a clownfish. Have you ever heard an opera fish? The fish can be great first pets for any household, especially if they bring this caliber of talent. That's really good. I love that.
Totally looks like a baritone.
Yes. Yeah. And then some people hike for the workout. Others do it for the breathtaking views, unless, of course, you end up in a parking lot. Then it really was just about the exercise. She didn't go too far. I don't know what happened. She get lost in there? Is she lost?
She can't find her car, is what the problem is. Oh my God, I don't remember where I parked.
Where am I? And finally, the hottest days of summer may be behind us, but you still got to get your hydration in where you can. Forget the sippy cup. Sometimes just a garden hose will do. It's all good until the flow gets a little bit out of control. That's a good way to cool off. You might need that hose today. It's going to be a hot one, right, Terry?
Oh, my goodness.
Get the hoses out, people. Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Oh, that's cute.
Yes. See you tomorrow.